Queensland, Australië. Die Springbokspan onder aanvoering van François Pienaar word op die veld gelei vir hierdie uiters belangrike tweede toets tussen Suid-Afrika en die Australiese Wallabies. Dit is die Springbokspan. Rhys Edwards, Hugh Rhys Edwards wat in die span is in die plek van die beseerde Theo van Rensburg en die voorry wat behou is van Bali Swart, Ulie Schmidt en Keith Andrews. Joel Stransky en Robert de Pre, die skakelpaar in die afgelope week in die pers is daar op 'n baie sielkundige manier gewag gemaak van die krag van Suid-Afrika. Eers was dit Keith Andrews wat die gevaarman is en vanoggend in die koerante is hulle vol van Tiaan Strauss. Dit is die Wallabies. Vulcans wat die Wallabies op die veld gaan lei. En dit is 'n maak of break toets vir die Wallabies nadat hulle die eerste toets verloor het teen Suid-Afrika 1912 in Sydney. 'n Reeks van 3 aanstaande Saterdag die laaste toets in Sydney en dit is David Campese wat sopas daar was. Net een verandering in hierdie span. 'n man wat 5 toetse gespeel het vir Fiji. Vandag in die nommer 7 tree of liewer nommer 6 tree, Eli Tambua wat sy
gepak vandag gekies veral met Eli Tambua. En hulle was kwesbaar aan die steelkant in die eerste toets, maar met hom daar, hy's bietjie vinniger as Garrick Morgan, die slot wat daar gespeel het. So ek dink ons sal 'n verbeterde Wallaby span vandag sien.
41 jaar oud meneer Ed Morrison, vandag sy 9de toets wat hy gaan hanteer aan sy pa en meneer Gys de Tooy van Ceres en Appington onderskeidelik stuur groete ook aan al die mense by die huis. En dit is Marty Roubak wat hierdie tweede toets gaan begin. Suid-Afrika loop 1-0 voor in die reeks. Agtertoe laat val deur Suid-Afrika. Probeer keer daar deur Dion Lotter. Damian Smith is die man wat vinnig weer gekom het. Hy speel linkervleuel hoewel hy die nommer 14 op sy rug het. Eerste lyn staan Ulie Schmidt maar die bal kan nou gooi vir Suid-Afrika. Dis die kwartlyn van Suid-Afrika links in beeld. Speel sy 12de toets vandag Ulie Schmidt. Hulle het hard gewerk aan die lyn staan. Hierdie ene gaan nie werk nie. Dis in die hande van Bowen. Hy beproef vir Joel Stransky. Smith jaag vir hom, Tom Horan jaag vir hom en die bal die spat los. Suid-Afrika moet doordruk en dan moet dis 'n 5 meter skram. Oorgedra, benoude oomblikke vir Suid-Afrika. Dit was 'n hoë skop van Scott Bowen. Hy's opgevolg deur Davian Smith en Tom Horan. So dit gebeur.
Wel, daar was min ondersteuning vir Joel Stransky met daai skop. Hy kon ongelukkig dit nie vang nie en Rhys Edwards nader gekom het en die bal wel doodgedruk het.
Wel, verlede Saterdag Suid-Afrika sukses voor in die skrums. Vandag kom hulle te staan teen Daly, Kearns en McKenzie. En is Nick Farr Jones, die eerste skrum. Scott Bowen. David Campese. Hy word eenvoudig teruggedra, sien die grondtruie waar daar kom. Hanteerfout was daar. Skrum Suid-Afrika wat die bal kan gooi en dit is goeie verdediging. Briljante spel deur Suid-Afrika. Is die verskil 20 kg wat die Australiese agtal swaarder is as die van Suid-Afrika. Verneem met die wedstryd word ook vandag regstreeks uitgesaai in Namibië en ons het gisteraand mense raakgeloop van Swakopmund en Walvis Bay en wat sê dat dit gaan goed. Hulle is veilig hier en hulle is beslis by hierdie veld Ballymore wat die meeste toeskouers vandag huisves in sy geskiedenis. Hugh Rhys Edwards gaan nie vir hom uitskop en kry sy op en net Marty Roubak. Middelveld langs 15 meter van die kant en af op die 10 meter stapruim gaan die patroon wees. Tiaan Strauss wat vir hom in wag uitgesê ek gaan hom vang. Tiaan Strauss wil vir hom beheer. Die skeieregter sê daar's geen fout daar nie. Robert de Pre wag vir hom. Suid-Afrika wat ingeduik het strafskop Australië geleentheid vir paal toe.
Ja, Chris, Suid-Afrika sal definitief moet seker maak van die basiese foute wat hulle kan begaan in 'n wedstryd en daai skop van Rhys Edwards wat nie uit was en ontsettend druk op die Suid-Afrikaners daar wat hulle eintlik verwag het in die eerste paar minute van die wedstryd. Daai bal onder die pale en dis baie belangrik dat hulle daai druk in hierdie eerste 10 minute kan absorbeer.
Marty Roubak speel sy 20ste toets, 28 jaar oud. Vulcans wat buite beeld gesels met meneer Ed Morrison, dis Marty Roubak, Australië loop voor met 3 punte oor 0. Wel, dit is wat Australië wil sien. Hulle wil sien dat daar punt op die tellbord kom. Ons onthou 2 weke gelede was Australië blitsvinnig voor 9-0 Suid-Afrika het gewen. Dit is geskiedenis. Kan Suid-Afrika terugkom? Kan hulle die reeks vandag beklink? Glo nie Brisbane sal vanaand weet wat hom getref het as Suid-Afrika vandag hier wen nie. Joel Stransky van die middellyn af. Is 'n netjie se skop, hy hang. Gedeflekteer deur Uli Schmidt. Pragtige werk. Robert de Pre, Pieter Muller word rond te bring. Was 'n hanteerfout. Australië het die bal vorentoe geklap, maar die skeieregter sê dit was daar. En Suid-Afrika by die bal kan nou gooi en 'n vaste skrum. Stewige skram. Robert de Pre. Skeieregter beduie vir Nick Farr Jones hier met terugval. Heinrich Vols. Tian Strauss is daar. Hy speel stel beskikbaar. Robert de Pre. Dis Joel Stransky wat loop na Jack Olivier vorentoe sê die skeieregter. En Olivier en Campese wat mekaar 'n bietjie ontmoet daar buite die veld. Die Schmidt is ook daar wat aan die jongeling se hulp gekom het. En dan word ek weer Morrison wat gesels met Willie Schmidt.
Heinrich Vols uitstekend daar op die dryf en dan daai vorentoe aankeer daar waar ons beslis kon sien. En Uli Schmidt wat deurkom en hy sal net moet seker maak dat daar kom Uli Schmidt nou en David Campese eintlik oor die kantlyn. En die besluit is wel geneem om 'n strafskop te gee aan Australië.
Pas op Uli, pas op Suid-Afrika. En geen fout nie. Campese wat ook 'n bietjie meer gesels is daar deur meneer Ed Morrison nou. Want hy het buite die speelgebied vir Jack Olivier nog verder uitgevat. En dis dalk waar die eerste onnodigheid begin het. Vulkens wat die bal kan gooi vir Australië voor. Tony Daly, die Scott Bowen van Nick Farr Jones. Tim Horan word eenvoudig teruggedra. Die Suid-Afrikaners se verdediging is daar. Hier kom probleme dalk vir hulle. Dis David Campese en Uli Schmidt weer. Hy kom by Schmidt verby, speel binnekant toe die vlag. Hy was nog nie omhoog nie. Skeieregter het 'n hanteerfout bemerk. Nee, die grensregter se vlag was tog omhoog. Kort lyn staan vir Suid-Afrika. Bali Swart. Hannes Strydom en Dion Lotter. Misverstand, dis Tim Gavin. Op die middellyn, Nick Farr Jones, Scott Bowen. Ja, vir Suid-Afrika, ver terug. Tot binnekant, hulle doelgebied. Jack Olivier is daar. En so byna 'n jakkalsdraffie wat hy daar wil uitvoer. En Juris Edwards het hom nou in die hande. Die telbord staan daar, Australië 3 punte, Suid-Afrika moet nog sy rekening open. Dis diep aangeskop, Roubak binnekant sy kwartgebied, laat hom agter toe val. Dis sy doellyn regs in beeld gewees. En van net binnekant sy kwartgebied. 'n netjie se skop van hom. Juris het wat wou vanaf aangooi, maar Tony Daly was vanaf daar. En dit sal 'n lyn staan wees met Uli Schmidt om aan te gooi vir Suid-Afrika.
Ek dink dit was nog steeds 'n goeie besluit van Joel Stransky om daai lang skop van die 22 te loods, want ons moet probeer in die Australiese helfgebied kom en daar bly soveel as moontlik hier in die eerste 10-15 minute van die wedstryd.
Hannes Strydom. Hard gewerk aan die verstandhouding daar in Mackay die week. Woensdag het die span geoefen het. Vulkens. Wat hierdie diskant vir Willie Schmidt hou vas en hy vat net sy hand weg. Skare hou die daarvan nie. Robert de Pre kry vir Joel Stransky. Dis François Pinaar. Word grond gesmeer. Suid-Afrika gaan 'n strafskop kry as een van die Wallabies oor die bal geval het. David Wilson dink ek. En Joel Stransky wat versekerlik kyk hoe ver hy die bal kan uitskop, aan die voordeel van die wind wat daar is.
Uitstekende laagvat daar van Nick Farr Jones vir Australië, maar Tim Gavin definitief oor die bal gegaan en dis 'n interessante besluit hier van Joel Stransky. Hy het gewys verlede week teen Queensland dat hy wel hierdie afstand definitief die bal kan oorskop. En uit 'n wind van agteraf, dis dink ek Chris omtrent dit lyk asof dit 'n noordelike wind is vandag en wel, dit sal fantasties wees vir Suid-Afrika as hy wel hierdie een kan oorskop.
Was gisteroggend hier op Ballymore waar hy geoefen het saam met Juris Edwards. Het nie so goed gegaan soos wat hy wou gehad het met sy skoppe nie. Maar meneer Gysie Pinaar, die hulpafrigter, het vir hom baie waardevolle raad gegee. En Joel Stransky het geluister, dit was duidelik. Goeie samewerking gewees tussen hulle twee. Maar is 'n lang skop hierdie. Goeie 57 meter. Suid-Afrika se eerste poging paal toe. Hy het die voordeel van die windjie van agteraf. Hou duim vas Suid-Afrika. Australië 3, Suid-Afrika nog 0. Hy tref vir hom aan die regtervoet. Die grensregters hou vir hom dop. Hy swaar. Jou werklik waar, hy stas in die paal deur. Die twee grensregters het gewag. Kan jy dit glo? En die Suid-Afrikaanse vlag wat omhoog skiet agter die pale. Want Suid-Afrika 3 punte, Australië 3 punte.
Uit 'n sielkundige oogpunt is dit ontsettend belangrik dat daai skop wel oorgegaan het, want ons weet dit was binne ons helfgebied en die Australië sal definitief moet aan die uitkyk wees as hulle foute gaan begaan in daai rigting.
Al Suid-Afrika se rekening is geopen. Skeieregter wag vir voordeel. Daar was 'n aanslaan deur die Springbokke. Springbokke met die hele span gaan dit baie goed. Die spelers wat speel vandag, die reserves en die manne wat nie speel nie, stuur almal groete aan nie daar by die huis. Dit gaan goed, die spangees is goed. Hulle is reg om vir Suid-Afrika te wen. En dis Nick Farr-Jones wat pragtig daar deurkom, wat weggesteer deur Martin Rowak en Campese wat vir hom net nie aan die ander kant kry nie. Gelukkig vir Suid-Afrika, maar dit was 'n gevaarlike beweging. Nick Farr-Jones wat baie vinnig omgekom het. En vang Suid-Afrika so bietjie op 'n verrassende agtervoet.
Hulle is die tipe bewegings wat baie vir Australië kan beteken. Nick Farr-Jones, ontsettend sterk, groot man, toe hy daar deurkom. Tim Horn, daar gaan die uitgee. Marty Rowak was net nie in 'n posisie om 'n ordentlike uitgee te gee aan David Campese wat nie kon vasvat nie.
'n Belangrike skram vir Suid-Afrika hierdie, dis die doellyn links in beeld. Krag van Australië, hulle probeer. Goeie skram van Suid-Afrika. Joel Stransky gaan nie uitwees. Nee, David Campese. Van reg op in die lug in. Anders stryd om bal beheer vir Suid-Afrika. Die aanslaan was daar. Australië kan die bal ingooi in 'n baie aanvallende posisie. So 11 minute wat verstreek is. Dis die afrigter van Australië, meneer Bob Dwyer. Een van die Springbokke wat nie gelukkig voel is Keith Andrews. Kan 'n kontaklens wees. En die spel word dan 'n bietjie opgehou daarvoor. Skeieregter of liewer die spandokter, Dr. Frans Verster wat vinnig op die veld is. Stellig net die nodige skoonmaakwerk gaan doen. Suid-Afrika 3 punte, Australië 3 punte, 11 minute verstreke in die eerste helfte. Dit is die afrigter meneer Ian McIntosh. Nick Farr-Jones. De Boa af, dan sit weer Nick Farr-Jones, Bowen, Nick Farr-Jones. Marty Rowak probeer om terugspeel na David Campese. Kry hy die ondersteuning, hy kry dit. Goeie spel, Damian Smith is daar, Suid-Afrika wil vir hom hê. Heinrich Vols probeer om terugbring en die bal is uit aan die oorkant, of liewer aan die diskant en ons het lyn staan. Maar Suid-Afrika moet sy keer ken.
Dit lyk of Australië bereid is om die bal wyd te speel vandag. David Campese, daar kom hy van die regtervleuel af. Hy vat weer daai aangee. Dan is dit die famous David Campese step en dan die binnekant die ingooi en Australië nog steeds op die aanval.
Dit klap na Suid-Afrika se kant toe. Joel Stransky kom daar by David Wilson verby met die grootste gemak. Gaan hy uitwees? Ja, is 'n uitstekende skop van Joel Stransky. Wel Campese wat gesê het hy neem die blame op hom vir Australië se vertoning 2 weke gelede en hy is reg om terug te kom met 'n grootse vertoning en dit doen hy tot dusver. Suid-Afrika 3, Australië 3. Die tweede toets in 'n reeks van 3. 5 manne vir Suid-Afrika aan die lyn staan, 5 vir Australië. Phil Kearns wat die bal kan gooi. Is bedoel vir Taboa. Nick Farr-Jones, François Pienaar bring van hom grond toe. Kan hy onbeskikbaar stel. Goed gedraai deur Suid-Afrika. Ek wonder of hy aan Australië se kant gaan uitkom. Hy gaan nie. Gaan hierdie skram aan Suid-Afrika behoort. Inderdaad. Goeie verdediging deur Suid-Afrika en verhoed het dat die bal uitkom na Australië se kant.
Dis weer 'n bewys van die belangrikheid van die voordeellyn, Chris, en uitstekende werk daardeur François Pienaar vir Suid-Afrika.
Robert de Pre. Tiaan Strauss wat wegbreek. Juris Edwards wat daar inkom. Suid-Afrika gaan hierdie bal verloor. Hier kom hy Nick Jones. Marty Roubak jaag vir Jacques Olivier ver terug tot binnekant sy kwartgebied. So 15 tree van sy doellyn af. En hy doen goed onder groot druk van Jason Little. En hy skop vir hom uit. Feitlik op die 10 meter stippellyn van Suid-Afrika. Jason Little. Australië. Saam 335 toetse gespeel hierdie span. Suid-Afrika 65. Ervaring loop Australië oorweldigend voor. Of deur Suid-Afrika se kant oorgeklap na Australië toe as Tamboa wegbars, dan sê die skeieregter kom ons skrum 15 meter van die kantlyn af. En Robert de Pre wat die bal kan ingooi. Dis groot gewig hierdie. Stewig staan Suid-Afrika se skram. Robert de Pre, Nick Jones hou vir hom dop. David Campese net by die kant sy kwartgebied. 'n Lang skop. Juris Edwards sê dis myne, hy kry vir hom aan die hande. En dit kan hy goed doen. Hy het dit gisteraand geoefen, hy doen dit nou goed. En Suid-Afrika is terug binne in die halfgebied van Australië. 15 minute byna verstrek uit die eerste helfte. Suid-Afrika 3, Australië 3. Vulkens. Goeie werk deur Nico Wegner. Dion Lotter probeer vasmaak vir Suid-Afrika. Robert de Pre kry vir hom. Australië word gestraf. As hulle oorval. En Joel Stransky se tweede geleentheid pale toe.
Wel, die bal was in die eerste instansie geklap daar deur Suid-Afrika, maar goeie werk daar deur ons losvoorspelers en uiteindelik die Australiërs wat oorgegaan het en weer geleentheid vir Stransky. Ek moet sê Chris, toe ons met hom gesels het in die hotel, sy vlakke van selfvertroue is baie hoog op die oomblik. Ek is bly om dit te sien want hy bly nog 'n belangrike faktor vir Suid-Afrika vandag.
Meneer Ian McIntosh. Altyd daar die bekommerde uitdrukking op sy gesig. Hierdie is 'n goeie 12-13 meter nader as sy eerste poging pale toe Joel Stransky. Suid-Afrika 3, Australië 3. Tref hom met die regtervoet. Net kort, Campese vat vir hom onder die doelpale. Hy kom daarby 'n hele paar springbokke verby, dit lyk nie goed nie. Nico Wagner kom daar tussen aangee in. En nou sit Damian Smith, hulle gaan vir hom uitdruk hier in die diskant. 'n Fotograaf onderste bo. Suid-Afrika wat vir David Campese 'n goeie 20 meter te ver laat hardloop het.
Wel, dis 'n bewys van hoe onvoorspelbaar is David Campese. Hy het net eenvoudig besluit vandag gaan hy vir die Australiese mense wys dat hy wel 'n goeie rugby speler is.
Suid-Afrika verloor hierdie lyn staan, bietjie wild weggegooi, maar netjies opgetel deur Tim Horan. Juris Edwards moet hardloop. En die bal is uit, 'n goeie skop van Tim Horan. En Jacques Olivier wat so 'n bietjie vir Jason Little laat hardloop. Australië is binne aan die halfgebied van Suid-Afrika. President van die Suid-Afrikaanse Rugby Voetbalunie, meneer Ibrahim Patel, het ook aangekom. Hy is hier. Hier is geweldig baie ondersteuners van Suid-Afrika. Australië kry van Bowen, Jason Little. Hy word onderskep deur Joel Stransky. Niemand gaan hom keer nie. Onder die pale moet hy hom kry. Hy word gejaag en Suid-Afrika loop voor met 8 punte teenoor 3. Alle wêreld teen die verloop van die spel in. 'n bal wat afgeneem word van Suid-Afrika aan die lyn staan. 'n goeie beweging, Jason Little, miskien 'n oomblik gehuiwer voordat hy besluit het wat gaan hy maak. So het dit gebeur.
Dit was slim spel deur Stransky. Goeie bal wat die Australiërs gekry het van die lyn staan af. En nou kyk net aan die binnekant. Joel Stransky wat daai beweging baie goed lees. Daar is geen kans dat Scott Bowen hom sal vang. Tim Horan aan die linkerkant wat ook baie vinnig is, maar Joel Stransky, hy kyk, loer net oor sy skouer, maar hy weet hy's onder die palle deur.
En dit is waar hy besig is om die bal te stel. Ons kan weer daarna kyk. 'n Oomblik van glorie vir Suid-Afrika. Gryp vir hom. En hy's dwars deur vir 5 punte, wat 7 punte gaan word as hy slaag met die doelskop. En Suid-Afrika loop voor met 10 punte teenoor 3. Al 10 punte aangeteken deur Joel Stransky. 18 minute speeltyd verstreke. Suid-Afrika doel in 'n strafdoel teenoor 'n strafdoel. Alle wêreld. So wil die mense begin nie. Nadat daar punte teen jou aangeteken is nie, Gavin.
Ja, Chris, ons het gepraat van basiese foute vroeg in die wedstryd en dis die tipe foute wat Australië sowel as Suid-Afrika nie kan bekostig nie. Ons het wel gesien in die eerste toets in die wedstryd teen Queensland hoe goed Joel Stransky ingeskop het en vandag 'n uitstekende wedstryd deur hom.
Daar is voordeel vir Suid-Afrika want Australië die bal aangeslaan. Dit gaan 'n skram wees. Nommer 6 behoort aan Eli Tamboa, man wat 4 toetse vir Fiji gespeel het, sy toetsdebuut vandag. 'n Speler hier van Queensland, Robert de Pre. Skeieregter sê nee, die skram het deur die 90 grade geswaai. Ons moet weer skram, Suid-Afrika moet weer die bal ingooi. Robert de Pre, vlak lê Australiese verdedigers. Gaan hy self skop? Ja. Campese wat moet terugval, buitekant sy kwartgebied, laat hy die bal agtertoe val. En Jack Olivier en Heinrich Vols is by hom, skop hy die bal ver veld op. Dit gaan die patroon wees vir Australië. Juris Edwards is daar, Tiaan Strauss, Angel Stransky. Mati Roubak wat vir hom probeer afstorm. Dis puur van net Suid-Afrika gaan die bal uitskop, feitelik op die middenlyn. 20 minute verstreke, Suid-Afrika 10 punte. Australië 3 en vir die laaste 20 minute van hierdie helfte. Saam met Gavin Cowley is dit Hugh Blyden.
Thank you very much, Chris Muller, and I greet you at a critical stage of the game. Australia territorially in advantage, but that try by Stransky, absolutely sensational, taken on by Strauss. Good driving in behind him by the Springbok forwards, taken on by Francois Pienaar, feeding Duprier. Stransky, a test of, and the South Africans, I think, an offside position there.
Yes, yeah, I think it was Heinrich Vols. We saw that in the last match as well. He was just slightly in front of the ball kicker.
Well, if he was, in fact, Gavin, it would have been a scrum down there. So I think what, in fact, that penalty was for the referee, indicating that one of the South Africans had gone into the maul from the side and not from the back feet. Campese with the kick. James Small just couldn't get to it. But remembering that South Africa playing this half with quite a strong wind at their backs. So we can expect in the second half, if Australia win good possession, that's Bob Dwyer, who will be a bit worried now. The Australians would have lost confidence a little bit. They've come with some very innovative moves, and they've been extremely good catch by Morgan. Kearns goes in to help. Now they're trying to get the drive going. Tambua has the ball now. Far Jones. A real tester for James Small. It's too far by Far Jones. Timmy Horan coming up very quickly. And there could be a little bit of an argument here. Tim Horan went along and just actually gave James Small a little bit of a straight arm bump there. There you see it now. James obviously upset, and then Jacques Olivier rather unnecessarily just going in to take matters into his own hands. But the referee quite rightly having a word with Tim Horan, the first offender. Well, there we have it. The Australian crowd don't like it, but Tim Horan had no right at all to interfere with James Small there. So relief for South Africa. That kick ahead by Far Jones was far too deep, but They've been winning some very good possession. Hugh Reese-Edwards makes no mistake with that touch finder. Now determined, he's not looking for the extra distance, but just making absolutely sure that he gets it into touch. Played very well in the Queensland match, did Hugh Reese-Edwards. Hannes Strydom couldn't get it. Nice feedback there. This is Tim Horan. Difficult man to bring down. You see how he works it back into the forwards. Good skills there by the Australians. Garrick Morgan trying to take it on, but well held up. Now Far Jones. The little chip for Campese. He was offside. He was definitely ahead of Far Jones. Joel Stransky coming up very quickly to take that penalty. And just perhaps taking it a little bit too quickly, Gavin.
Well, it's what we spoke about last week. I think the importance of staying down in Australian territory, and even if it does mean having to kick over the goal line, just making sure that South Africa stays down in that part of the field. It's interesting to notice so far, you as well, that Australia have not played too much with their forwards in terms of driving play, but to try to spread it wide, and obviously part of their game plan to try and beat South Africa down the middle and out wide.
Well, they certainly have, and they want to try and stretch Tiaan Strauss across the field as well, because they feel that Tiaan Strauss and Francois Pienaar together are playing very much open play, and they support each other so well that they're trying to counteract that as well. Far Jones. This is Bowen. Just lifting it a little bit too high, did Scott Bowen. He's a young man, just 20 years old, playing in his second test match. Very, very warm here today, and surely those 10 tight forwards will certainly be feeling the heat in the scrums and the mauls. Getting up to a top temperature of 28 degrees. Nico Wagner at the back. Morgan went in very quickly, but brought down by the South African forwards. Now du Preez, the referee getting in the way. Robert du Preez had just changed his mind about kicking ahead there. He was possibly going to shovel it out to Uli Schmidt. But then as he dropped the ball, you see Robert du Preez just shaping to kick there, and then just the referee right in the way. Second time in the test series that we've had a bit of a problem with the referee from Goodball. Heinrich Fools, they do this quite often. Good tackle by Tim Horan. Penalty there as Peter Muller went in. They're taken quickly by Nick Farr-Jones. The referee has no option but to give another 10 metres. The South Africans must fall back quickly. Good thinking by Nick Farr-Jones there. He realised that the South Africans would have to tackle him and gained his side another 10 metres. And this is Marty Roebuck who is coming up. Well, that's the experience of just of Nick Farr-Jones, his 62nd test match today. So the second opportunity for Marty Roebuck to just get some more points on the board for Australia. We've seen some very good moves by the Australian backs, and they've just about had an overlap when David Campese couldn't collect that final pass. It just went to ground, which was rather lucky for South Africa, but the defence around the fringes still extremely good. Important for Australia, this Roebuck. I don't think he struck it quite cleanly enough. Reese-Edwards. I'm sure that Reese-Edwards will just hand it on to... No, he's looking for the long one. Now it's Stransky. Important to lift it high so the forwards can charge in under it. There's Francois Pienaar. Tambua gets an awful thump in the back. Great play there. Beautiful play by Nick Farr-Jones. Campese trying to get around his man. Morgan feeds on the inside, but the touch judge's flag is up. See how quickly Nick Farr-Jones seized on that ball. It was just rolling a little bit loose, and he was round there like a flash. So far, the Australians winning a little bit more of the line-out ball. Taken by Tambua. The referee waiting for advantage. It comes to Australia. Now taken on by Cairns, the captain. Good tackle there by Stransky. He did well. Now taken on by McKenzie. This is a good charge by the forwards. Now out to Bowen. Horan, the switch back to Bowen. Little is in touch. Little could get in under the post. Yeah, this is a great try by Australia. Jason Little in for his 6th test try, and he's absolutely delighted. The Springboks defence stretched to its limits, and that was a terrific run by Jason Little.
And once again, the try coming from innovation from Australia. After those 2 initial drives, just watch how well the little switch pass. Jason Little, perhaps the South Africans guilty of missing passes. 1 and then 2. Very difficult situation for men coming across the field. And Marty Roebuck with the conversion.
Well, you see it again from the other end now. You see Jason Little, just very deft footwork by him, just going against the Springbok cover defence. And an excellently worked try by Australia. And there we have it, the scores level with 11 to 12 minutes to go in the first half.
Important for Australia too that they'd actually got over the advantage line on 2 occasions, and the forwards had the forward going momentum to enable the backs just to create a little bit of extra space.
Well, again, remembering that was South Africa's throw in at the line out, and it was Tambua who came away with it. This is Campese. And making no, he's not found touch. Jacques Olivier, Rhys Edwards outside his 22. Now a chance for Tim Horan to counter-attack the sloppy play by South Africa. Will put some pressure on them again. This is Jacques Olivier coming back on defence. Horan is right up there. He's a dangerous man still. They haven't found touch. Now it's Bowen with a kick head. Charged down by Francois Pienaar. Good play by Pienaar. He hadn't moved forward and then came with a charge. Far Jones to Campese. Campese with the hoist again. Under it is Heinrich Fulls. Horan gets the first touch. Good play by Davin. Beautifully controlled by Far Jones. He goes through Rhys Edwards with his tackle. The Australian rampant at the moment. It's Nico Wagner who came in for a bit of a pounding there. The stab ahead there by Bowen. Jacques Olivier, Campese. In fact, it was Tim Horan whose speciality is chasing those kicks down and jumping up into in-goal areas. He did it so brilliantly against the All Blacks, and so nearly he did it there again.
Terrific pace once again from Australia on both sides. Scott Bowen picking the right option there with a little chip kick ahead, but very well read by Jacques Olivier in warding off that attack there from Tim Horan. Horan's work rate, as with Little, is extremely high. Very, very good rugby player. Strong on his feet, very quick. And of course, we all know about the defensive capabilities of the Australian centres.
Well, that's one of the Australian front rankers. It could be Tony Daly who's down there as that scrum collapsed. Yes, it is that big man, loose head prop. So, a very important scrum this for both sides. South Africa will want to hold it up. Australia careful not to push before. That's very solid by the South Africans. See, Australia went on the shove, realised it wasn't going, and then just decided to wheel it. Now lock the feet. It's Keith Andrews in a little bit of trouble as he popped out there.
Come on, guys. What we spoke about last night. Go again, Bertie.
Now we have a bit of blood. Bali Swart looking very worried that he might have to go off. Johan Steiger is a very able substitute, so all it would need for Bali Swart is to go off to have that blood stem, but he seems to be okay.
Well, it's a critical part of the field as well. We're right, South Africa right on the try line there, and important. There's Richard Turnbull in the background, just keeping an eye on Bali Swart.
Again, a good scrum by the Australians. Keith Andrews holds up well. The referee saying that Keith Andrews went up, and he has to blow that if it's on purpose. But Keith Andrews won't be happy about that. And the referee saying, no, hold on, we're going to scrum, but it's now Australia's advantage. So very good forward play by the Australians in the first 30 minutes of this game. Will Gavin hold at the back? It's going to be difficult for them to shove from that position. Tambua going in behind Gavin very quickly. Robert de Preez there. This is good to see Nick Farr-Jones up on the drive. South Africa being penalised for deliberately collapsing the maul. It's against the laws to do that, and the referee, Ed Morrison, quite within his rights to award the penalty. But coming as a result of extremely powerful Australian forward play. Just a little bit of an advantage to Australia in terms of penalty count. This lovely Ballamore ground absolutely packed to the rafters. So Marty Roebuck will now attempt to kick this goal, kicking 12 points in the first test, the only man to put points on the board for Australia. But now we've seen that great try by Jason Little. And Roebuck has pulled that to the left of the posts.
An important period of play here for South Africa in terms of absorbing the pressure that's coming from Australia. And obviously, as we've mentioned a little bit earlier, important for South Africa to get down into the Australian half of the field and try and remain there, because the rhythm of the Australian team is such now. The forwards are playing extremely well. And of course, it's the tight forward play that's creating the additional movement and room to move for the back row and of course the back line as well.
Good drive from the kickoff by the South Africans. Nico Wagner was very prominent. But remembering that South Africa are playing with a stiff breeze at their backs, and the try by Joel Stransky somewhat against the run of play. Terrific reading of the play by him, but Australia were in possession and attacking. Farr Jones doesn't like the referee's decision to give South Africa the put in at the scrum. du Preez, Heinrich Fools waits to make that charge at the advantage line. He runs into Scott Bowen. The South Africans will have to get there a little bit quicker. Penalty going in on the side of the maul. It's the second time South Africa have been penalised for it, and it was Peter Muller that time. That's a very good kick against the wind by Campese. Just using the wind slightly to his advantage there and just making sure that we watch now, Gavin.
Well, that was Peter Muller, in fact, going through on Nick Farr Jones, who was not part of that maul situation. And very important for South Africa to try and eliminate those errors inside the own half of the field. It's that momentum that Australia have now and the rhythm, which is driving them forward.
Ian Mack will be a worried man right now. Need to just get a bit more rhythm. Great catch by Rod McCall. Line-out work by Australia has been outstanding. Farr Jones has been very motivated for this game, getting physically involved. Everybody said it was going to be a physical game, and it's lived up to its potential. About 8 meters from the Springbok line. Just that line behind there is the little 5-meter line. Robert du Preez gaining penalty to South Africa, and that's great relief. Jason Little, the man penalised. So the South Africans will have to draw on all their reserves of fitness to absorb this pressure. Rhys Edwards. It's a huge punt by Rhys Edwards, but the touch judge has his flag up about 12 meters inside the South African half. One of the features of this test series, and also the game against Queensland, was the physical confrontation between Heinrich Fools and Peter Muller and Tim Horan and Jason Little. More work for Campese. He caught that outside his 22, so he's have to go to play it. He can't kick directly into touch. If he does, the touch judge must blow him back. Well, he ran back into his 22 as far as I was concerned, Gavin.
Yes, it definitely looked like he did catch it outside the 22.
Dion Lotter at the back. Free kick interference by Tim Gavin on Dion Lotter. Big Australian number 8. Now the hoist ahead. Campese again. He's been very involved in this game and makes a good mark. Kicked too far by Stransky. Jacques Lefier up quickly on his opposite number, but a safe kick by David Campese. interesting to see if Uli Schmidt can find Nico Bachner. There's Nico Bachner going high, but again too deep, taken down by Gavin. You can see the advantage that Australia have at the line-out, and that's one of South Africa's problems at the moment. Campese doing the defensive kicking in place of Scott Bowen. He didn't like it. Outwardly a pretty casual man, but inwardly highly competitive. On a stratum, but great hands there by Far Jones. Kearns takes it on. He gets a great roar from the crowd for their captain, the Scott Bowen, with a kick ahead. Campese running quickly. This is Rhys Edwards. Good clearance by the Springbok fullback.
Well, good interplay there between Jacques Olafere and Rhys Edwards. It's also been one of the features on this tour is the ability of the two wingers in the test matches to assist the fullback and help in the last line of defence. James Small, of course, has seen very little of the ball in this match, but he himself, of course, is a former fullback. Certainly knows his way about the 22.
Phil Kearns deep to McCall, a tap down to Far Jones is so important. Tambua gets a great roar from his home crowd. Far Jones again, he's looked very sharp today. Great hands by Horan as Roebuck comes through. Great tackle by Peter Muller. The referee saying play on Far Jones against probes for ground, but I think the kick will be too far. And the Springbok defence has really stretched there. Peter Muller had to pull everything out. Now Uli Schmidt deciding to take the law into his own hands, but then says, no, hold on a second. So keen to get involved is Uli Schmidt. Ten points all, 2 minutes to go in the half. Garrick Morgan goes high. Far Jones just taking his eyes off the ball. Bowen hoists again. The chase will come from Horan, but it's too high. Peter Muller getting the tap back to Uli Schmidt, and he's in all sorts of trouble from Horan, a little rather. Now it comes back again. It was on the South African side, and this ball couldn't have come back legally to Australia. Phil Kearns, the Australian captain, the last to get up. Very prominent in the driving runs, isn't he, Gav?
Yeah, no question about it. He's a big, strong man, and what he's also had is the support of his fellow players in going through, and I'm sure that Ilian Tambua will be happy with his performance thus far in his first test match for Australia. He's got around the field very, very quickly, and which is one of the factors, I think, which was a problem for them in the past with Garrick Morgan on the flank in the first test.
Well, there we have it. That rather lucky try.
Australië 10 punte. Môre vertrek die span na Penrith toe. U sien hier 'n pragtige vlugvertoning. Môre vertrek die span na Penrith toe. Dis 'n voorstad van Sydney waar hulle Woensdag speel in 'n wedstryd teen Sydney 15-tal. 'n Wedstryd wat ons ook vir die lewendig sal bring in Suid-Afrika. En dan aanstaande Saterdag die derde en laaste toets. Jules Transke wat die tweede helfte gaan begin. Suid-Afrika 10, Australië 10. 40 minute wat oorbly. Meneer Ed Morrison se fluitjie beteken dit is die begin van die tweede helfte. Rod McCall wat vir hom inwag. Nico Bachner probeer deflecteer. Suid-Afrika het aangeslaan daar. Australië wat kan gooi. En onthou, die voordeel van die wind is nou in die rug van Australië. Die kant is dit Bali Swart wat druk teen Ewan McKenzie. Keith Andrews aan die ander kant teen Tony Daly. Dion Strauss en dan word die bal afgestorm daar deur Dion Lotter van Nick Far Jones. En dit is 'n goeie begin vir Suid-Afrika in die tweede helfte. Australië se kaptein het weer lank gesels met meneer Ed Morrison gedurende rustyd. Gedeflecteer deur McCall, Scott Bowen. Wen so 5 meter veld, maar nou kan Suid-Afrika die bal ingooi. David Campese is die man wat geskop het. Gavin Suid-Afrika sukkel in die lyn staan.
Ja, ons is definitief nie kompeterend tot dusver in die lyn staan en Ollie Schmidt moet definitief sy manne probeer vind. Daar weer het ons 'n probleem.
En Campese, Nico Wagner wat vir hom jaag en Campese wat besluit hy gaan begin hardloop. Dis Tim Horan net binne aan sy kwartgebied. Anders stryd ombring vir hom grond toe. Dis die kwartlyn van Australië. Australië het beheer daarvan. Hulle wil vir hom Nick Jones. Wag vir hom Tim Gavin wat dryf Robert de Pre wat aangaan. Goeie dryfwerk deur Australië. Dit lyk nie goed vir Suid-Afrika nie. Dis David Campese. Dis in die hande van Tim Horan. Damian Smith. Leo Jason Little. Scheidsregter hou sake fyn dop, strafskop aan Suid-Afrika. Hy was op die grond gewees en toe het hy die bal gespeel. En Juris Edwards gaan kyk hoe ver hierdie bal kan uitskop. David Campese het teruggeval tot feitelik op sy doellyn. Op die kwartlyn sal die lyn staan wees Suid-Afrika se ingooi.
Daar lê harde werk vir ons Suid-Afrika se voorspelers in hierdie helfte, Chris. Ek dink veral nadat daai eerste helfte het hulle ontsettend baie druk geabsorbeer en veral die vaste 5 voorspelers het hard gewerk en dit gaan vir hulle baie moeilik wees in die laaste 20 minute van hierdie wedstryd want dit is ontsettend warm vandag soos jy gesê het.
En dit was 'n groot bron van kommer vir Suid-Afrika. Ander strydom het goeie werk gedoen. Robert de Pre wag vir hom. Beskikbaar gestel. Joel Stransky. 'n Fop aangee en dan kry Tiaan Strauss vir hom in die hande. Dis 'n sterke derduivel Robert de Pre. Joel Stransky, Heinrich Vols, dis bedoel vir James Small. Hy kan vir hom net nie beheer nie. En Suid-Afrika wat 'n goue kans verspeel, maar dit lyk beter vir Suid-Afrika.
Daar kan gevra word of Heinrich Vols nie miskien daai bal moes uitgegee het aan die manne aan sy buitekant. Ons onthou daai skop van hom, daai uitstekende skop van hom toe James Small die 3 gedruk het en natuurlik wou hy dieselfde uitvoer.
James Small het teruggeval. Juris Edwards het teruggeval. Scott Bowen se skop is uit. Dan Suid-Afrika in hierdie tweede lyn staan. Nou weer die bal skoon kry. Vorige lyn staan het dit gedoen. Hannes Strydom. Hannes Strydom en Dion Lotter in die lyn staan vir Suid-Afrika. Rod McCall en Garrick Morgan is McCall wat oorstuur. Suid-Afrika verloor weer 'n lyn staan. Scott Bowen. Juris Edwards. Hy was by die kant sy kwartgebied toe hy hom gevang het. Hy gaan grondvat binnekant die speelgebied. En is David Campese op die 10 meter stippellyn van Australië en hy word uitgedwing hierdie diskant deur Juris Edwards. Nie baie beweegruimte gehad nie. Suid-Afrika se lyn staan werk is 'n bron van kommer. Dis ervare man Rod McCall en dis Garrick Morgan voorstand Tony Daly vir Australië. Opgetel in die lyn staan, scheidsregter meneer Ed Morrison, vryskop van Australië. Nick Jones gaan 'n dryf wees. Gaan hulle hoogskop. Vulkans na Tony Daly, Garrick Morgan wat daar deurkom. Stel beskikbaar in Australië, dis McKenzie. En die ander van Nick Jones verander in rigting. Jason Little. Robert de Pre probeer om te bring onder die paal van die deur. Hy gaan deur Suid-Afrika as op daar nie verdediging is nie. En Jason Little se tweede 3. Nee, Suid-Afrika.
Daar is gepraat van die belangrikheid van verdediging in albei spanne. Nick Jones definitief een van die dorings vandag vir Suid-Afrika. Jason Little daar kom hy deur amper vasgevat en dan weer 2 Suid-Afrikaners weer onder die paal.
Die eerste linie was 2 manne, Robert de Pre en François Pinaar. En toe sê tussen Joel Stransky. En nog 'n span na deur. En Robert maak geen fout met die doelskop nie. En daar is 7 punte verskil. Australië het 17, Suid-Afrika 10. Kan 'n lang helfte word hierdie. 35 minute speeltyd wat oorbly. Vreugde in die Australiese kamp. Bekommernis vir Suid-Afrika. Nou is die bal weg. Dis die Australiese vlag. Die Afrikaanse vlag word 'n bietjie weggeberg in hierdie stadium. Jill Stransky beduif sy manne nee kerels agter die bal. Vlieger Garrick Morgan wil hom hy deflekteer vir hom terug. Nick Jones, nie baie beweegruimte gehad nie. Hy kry vir Jills vir Jack Olivier, dis Juris Edwards. Wil daar by 'n man verbykom, loop vir hom vas. Die ondersteuning is nie daar nie, gaan uitkom. Jill Stransky het hom in die hande. Hy probeer by 'n man verbykom. Hy kry vir Keith Andrews en die kantlyn wen. Goeie verdediging deur Australië. Elie Tamboa wat hard werk. Suid-Afrika 10, Australië 17. Die slag gaan hier na Suid-Afrika se kant toe kom. Robert de Pre. Heinrich Vols, gooi bietjie wild weg. Dis weer na Robert de Pre. Dis Ollie Schmidt en die kant uit vir Jack Olivier wat vanaf inkom. Ollie Schmidt word rond te smeer. Olivier stel beskikbaar. Tiaan Strauss wil wegneem. Nico Wegner is daar. Robert de Pre kry vir François Pienaar wat vir hom 'n pop wil oopbeur is die kwartlyn van Australië. Australië wat die bal kan aangooi. Net as dit lyk asof Suid-Afrika goed wil begin vaar, dan is daar die fout wat insluip.
Met daai dryfspel, Chris, al kom ons oor die voordeellyn, dis belangrik dat Suid-Afrika dat daar meer as een man is, die draer van die bal, François Pienaar, en dat meer mense nader is aan hom onder die kombers. Daar was geen moontlikheid dat François daai bal wel kon uitkry daar, en die verdediging was deur 3 of 4 Australiërs en Suid-Afrika 'n bietjie laat by daai losgemaak.
Rod McCall het 'n bietjie aandag gekry. Hierdie lostrio van Australië werk geweldig hard vandag. Nick Jones, dis Australië se kwartlyn links in beeld. Australië die bal 7 keer ingegooi, Australië 8 keer nie, liewer Suid-Afrika 8 keer in die scrums. Morrison die hoor hy sê, ek wil hê julle moet reguit ingaan, ek gaan julle straf. Nick Jones. David Campese. Dis 'n goeie skop van hom. McCall staan op nommer 4 teenoor Nico Wegner. Dis bedoel vir Dion Lotter. Anders stryd om maar aangaan op die 10 meter stippellyn van Australië. Hy gaan uitkom, Robert de Pre, Ollie Schmidt, Tamboa draaf hom terug. Dis 'n goeie duikslag daar. François Pienaar is daar. Nico Wegner wil uithaal. Dion Lotter kom daar. Robert de Pre. Jill Stransky kom by 'n man verby. Jill Stransky gaan hy by nog 'n man verbykom. Skeieregter wag vir voordeel. Australië het aangeslaan. Tiaan Strauss wat daar wil oorgaan. Dis die 10 meter stippellyn van Australië. Jill Stransky kry vir Heinrich Vols. Dis Jack Olivier. Hy het nie veel beweegruimte nie. Hulle gaan terugkom vir die vorentoe aangee. En dinge wil nie heeltemal werk vir Suid-Afrika nie. Dis die 10 meter stippellyn van Australië. Nick Jones word gery deur Robert de Pre. Daar was nie fout daarmee nie. Aantrek David Campese klop deur 2 manne. Jack Olivier wil hom jaag. Nie 'n goeie uitgee van Campese nie. Dis Tim Horn wat hier wil deurkom. Suid-Afrika wil vir hom grond toe bring, maar daar's manne wat aan mekaar se pad is. Dis Scott Bowen, 'n lang aangee, Mati Roubak, Jason Little is daar. Hy wil weer daar deurkom. Julle kan nie dat hy weer deurkom nie. Suid-Afrika wil vir hom hê, Australië het vir hom. Hulle kry vir hom David Campese. Dis bedoel vir Tim Horn. Jack Olivier is daar, die bal spring vir hom verkeerd. En dis Tim Horn wat die bal gewonnen het hom. Tim Horn het hom. En Ballymore raak heeltemal Suid-Afrika se kaptein François Pienaar wat byle, hy hou vas sy gesig op sy skouer. Maar Tim Horan druk Australië se derde drie.
Dit kom van hierdie uitstekende skop van David Campese. Dis een van die skoppe wat hy en Tim Horan gereeld oefen in wedstryde. Die spring van die bal is in Australië se guns en Tim Horan met die noodsaaklike spoed.
Dit gaan 'n grootse poging verg van Suid-Afrika om terug te kom. François Pienaar lê steeds plat op die naak van sy rug. Die skeieregter is daar, die spandokter is daar.
Dis 'n baie moeilike situasie hier vir Jacques Olivier toe hy teruggekom het.
Staan zwaar op François Pienaar. Wat sy plek gaan inneem. Die telbord lyk nie baie goed nie. Suid-Afrika 10. 12 punte verder is Australië se telling plus 'n doelskop wat wag op Martie Roubak. %60% suksesverhaal vir Martie Roubak. Hy kan die punteverskil 14 maak. Dis 2 doele. Nee, uittrek hom. Kan Suid-Afrika terugkom. 38 minute. 28 minute speeltyd wat oorbly in hierdie toets. Suid-Afrika 10, Australië 22. Het nie 10 meter getrek nie. Australië wat die bal kan ingooi in die middel van die veld. Suid-Afrika was 10-3 voor in 'n stadium. 19 punte intussen aangeteken deur Australië sonder dat daar punte gekom het vir Suid-Afrika. Nick Farr-Jones wag vir hom. David Campese op loskakel. Is 'n lang skop van hom. Ja, vir Suid-Afrika terug. Tot binnekant hulle doelgebied. James Small is daar. Damian Smith is daar en ook Jason Little. Pieter Muller, pas op vir vinnig inskop. Jou manne is nie agter die bal nie. Joe Stransky is ook daar. Hy het die bal nou in die hande. Nie 'n goeie inskop nie. Nick Farr-Jones kom daar by 2-3 manne verby. Beskikbaar aan Australië. Bowen, Jason Little, Martie Roubak wat daar wil deurkom op die kwartlyn van Suid-Afrika. Sy weer beskikbaar aan Australië se kant, maar die slag kry Suid-Afrika 'n strafskop as Australië oorgeval het, ingeduik het.
Die laaste 10 minute het net bestaan eintlik uit verdediging van Suid-Afrika se kant en dis baie belangrik dat hulle nou wegkom van hulle 22 Uris Edwards met die geleentheid uitstekende skop van hom.
David Campese wat baie hard probeer het op sy kwartlyn, maar Suid-Afrika is daar waar hulle wil wees, danksy hierdie skop van Uris Edwards.
Dus ek dink die samespel van die voorspelers vir hierdie volgende 10 minute of so vir die res van die wedstryd gaan baie belangrik wees. En François Pienaar sal met sy manne moet praat. Hulle is definitief aan die gang. Die Australiese pak voorspelers, hulle dryf vorentoe die hele tyd en dit gee die beweegruimte aan die buitekant vir Nick Farr-Jones en sy snellers.
Moet 'n vryskop kom aan Suid-Afrika want Australië het 'n bietjie gestamp daar, hulle toegemaak. Wat gaan Suid-Afrika maak? François Pienaar? Nee, is Joe Stransky, gaan hy hoog skop. Word gejaag deur Heinrich Vols en Jacques Olivier. Suid-Afrika wil van Etienne Strauss wil hom daar uithaal. Die fluitjie gaan blaas. Australië wat kan afgooi so 7 meter van hulle doellyn af. Grensregter in die diskant het iets gesien. Hy gaan vir meneer Morrison nader roep.
In die eerste instansie is dit Uli Schmidt wat daar ingaan, een van die Australiërs wat aan die verkeerde kant van daai losgemaal lê.
François Pinaar word nader geroep. Hier gaan 'n strafskop kom teen Suid-Afrika. Jason Little is die man wat gaan aandag kry. Hier kom die strafskop vir Australië, so 7 meter van die doellyn af. En dis die afrigter met Ian McIntosh.
Ek dink ons is almal van mening dat Jason Little definitief aan die verkeerde kant van daai loskram gelê het en Suid-Afrika nou daai strafskop teen hulle. Al die harde werk van daai skop van Juris Edwards en die goeie werk deur die voorspelers in die laaste paar minute is daarmee heen.
Twee grensregters van Nieu-Seeland. Jason Little is reg, hy 2-3 gedruk in hierdie wedstryd. Hy is 'n held. Campese se skop. Dis wat Australië wil hê, want die ingooi behoort ook aan Australië. En daar lê nog 'n Australiër, is dit steeds Jason Little inderdaad. En is Fulkins, kaptein van Australië, wat die bal kan ingooi. 5 meter binnekant die halfgebied van Australië. Suid-Afrika 10, Australië 22. 23 minute speeltyd wat oorbly. Nick Farr-Jones het Australië beheer hierdie losgemaal. Hulle beheer vir hom. Dis bedoel vir David Campese, is in die gaatjie daar. Jack Olivier wat vir hom in die lug uitpluk. Kry vir François Pinaar. Van Suid-Afrika met hierdie bal iets doen. Robert de Pre, dis Joel Stransky se skoppie, gaan vir Australië terugjaag. Australië speel op die oomblik soos 'n goed geoliede masjien. Anthony Herbert is die reserve van Australië wat op die oomblik warm maak vir ingeval daar 'n probleem kan wees met Jason Little. 22 minute speeltyd bly oor. Dis Garrick Morgan. Na Suid-Afrika toe. Heinrich Vols kom daar by een Australiër verby, kom by 'n tweede een verby, hardloop eintlik as sy eie man vas. Robert de Pre. Dean Strauss is daar om verder te neem. Kom, die bal moet uitkom Suid-Afrika. Robert de Pre kry van Joel Stransky. Byna word hy onderskep. Uli Schmidt is daar. Australië moet onkant wees. Suid-Afrika kry geleentheid om paal te skop. Dis 'n hoogvat op Uli Schmidt, sê die skeieregter meneer Ed Morrison. Hy was daar. Australië hou nie daarvan nie. Die jong Scott Bowen.
Dis goeie werk daar deur Tiaan Strauss. Maar uiteindelik Suid-Afrika meestal op die agtervoet as die bal uitgegee word en geen beweegruimte vorentoe vir Uli Schmidt. Dis 'n ontsettend belangrike skop hierdie vir Joel Stransky. Suid-Afrika 12 punte agter.
Jason Little wat weer behandeling kry. Joel Stransky wat doodstil staan. Suid-Afrika lanklaas punte aangeteken. Kan Suid-Afrika 13 punte op die tellbord hê. Die Suid-Afrikaners agter die pale spring omhoog. Hulle sien hy's tussen die pale deur. Suid-Afrika 13, Australië 22. 20 minute wat verstryk is in hierdie tweede helfte. Suid-Afrika 13, Australië 22. En vir die laaste spannende 20 minute, Hugh Blyden en Gavin Cowley.
Roebuck with the kick in. Just finding the necessary distance. South Africa need to control there. The initial catch not taken.
Well, thanks, Chris Muller, and a vital period of play now for South Africa. If they're going to get back into this game, I really think, Gavin, that they're going to have to score And the first requirement is that they have to find more line-out ball. Bob Dwyer, the Australian coach. But I think that really the first phase ball is so vital in line-outs, and they're just not coming right.
Yes, the line-outs have really not been up to expectations at all, and that's in fact Australia have had really some outstanding ball from the line-out, very good quality possession. But more importantly, I think in the tight loose and the rucks and mauls, South African players are just not going in twos and threes. There tends to be one isolated man, and one also believes that there's been enormous pressure in terms of the defence, which has had to be practiced during this match by our tight forwards, and they're entering a phase now where obviously they're very tight.
Gavin working at the back of the scrum. He's a big man held up by Strauss. Obstruction indicated by the referee as Timmy Gavin came away. Bob Dwyer doesn't like it, but the referee has been pretty fair to both sides. Rhys Edwards, good kick against the wind. Rhys Edwards, who after missing that first touch, which was the cause of Australia being able to get the penalty in their first 3 points, has not put a foot wrong. But you see the advantage there, that the Australians winning 1/3 more ball than South Africa at the lineouts. That time Hannes Strader got the first touch. They'll need to open this up. It's going to be a very difficult period for Francois Pienaar as well, because that shoulder of his is giving him trouble. Better more by the South Africans. They need to work that ball back to the second and third man. That's good play. Australians going in on the wrong side, and also the referee then indicating that they were bringing the maul down. You see how the Australians are querying that. So another chance for Joel Stransky. He's been unsuccessful with just one of his 4 kicks at goal, and in fact responsible for 13 of South Africa's points. Well, if South Africa win this test match, it'll be one of the greatest comebacks in test history. Kicking into the teeth of the wind, and it's not an easy one, this. Sea level, difficult breeze. Wind possibly doesn't swirl as much as it used to at Kings Park. Sporting crowd. Difficult for Joel Stransky. Which one is this going to do? The South Africans at the South Stand say no. For a moment they thought it was over. Campese cleaning up for Australia. Well, that must have been very close, because there are a lot of South Africans in that far stand behind the posts, and there was a great roar from them, so it must have just shaved it. Strydom at 2. High to Vechner. Lotte was also in there, but once again South Africa can't win their own lineouts ball.
There's been a number of variations today with the very short lineouts as well, and even those South Africa have not managed to control. That's the sort of penalty that you pay, the halfway line in front of us, and that thumping kick from David Campese.
The other factor is that when South Africa have one clean ball, they've looked pretty dangerous. Strydom high. Robert de Preer, a lot of pressure from Reddy Tambua. Tambua, who's had a great game. Stransky scrambling it away to Fools. South Africans at 6s and 7s, they're not going forward. De Preer gets, Fools did well. De Preer looking for ground. Now the chase comes from Peter Muller and James Small. Roebuck goes up for Australia, taken down. The Australian forwards have really played exceptionally well. Look at that clean ball. Campese pops up into the right position. Nice positional play by Hugh Rhys Edwards. And a pretty good return kick, about 4 meters inside the South African half. Hugh Rhys Edwards just asking his other three-quarters to come back for the possibility of a counter-attack. But the Australian midfield is rock solid, as they always are. That's Garrick Morgan, who's had a great game at the lineouts. Ewan McKenzie. Great pass by Farr Jones. Look at that experience. Bowen who got it away, again the drive down the midfield. It was Daly who came in last, then Bowen the drive again. All Australia will want to do is keep driving South Africa back, and almost a mix-up there as the ball didn't hop into touch quite as quickly as Yuri Edwards had expected. But eventually it was okay.
Well, that's the sort of space that's created with a side that's moving forward, and even if it is those just initial 5 meters from the rucks and walls, it does create the space there. I think Nick Farr-Jones has had an absolutely outstanding match here. Of course, that protection has come from his forwards and the fact that they keep moving forward.
Well, Nick Farr-Jones will also be experienced the service that he's had from his forwards. Du Preez. Free kick to South Africa. The Australians closing up too early. So Rhys Edwards with the free kick. And he hasn't found touch. Smith feeding Roebuck. This time it's Du Preez on the run. He'll need to keep the ball in play, but going for the ground instead. Just running it out of the danger zone. But Australian put in at the line out. So far a disappointing game for the thousands of South African supporters who have arrived in Brisbane. But if Australia win this, just imagine the tension and atmosphere next Saturday for the decider. But the game isn't over yet. 15 minutes to go. Australia leading by 22 points to 13. Tambua, who's had a great debut, driving at the back of the line out. The Australian forwards so adept at taking the opposition away. Bowen, the one to Little, see the hands by Little. Roebuck, great hands by him. This is Horan. Horan trying to go good cover defence there by Jacques Olivier. Horan fell well, taken on by Kearns. Look at the drive of this strong man. The Springbok defence is really stretched now if they get it. This is Roebuck. The charge by Bowen. The rest of the Blue Jersey, South Africa offside. This is going to be a penalty to Australia right in front of the posts. Couldn't be simpler for Roebuck if he went and placed the ball. Great running, I must say. The Australian centres, Little and Horton, have had fantastic games, but it all stems from this wonderful supply of ball that they're getting.
The last tackle from South Africa there with the drive through from Scott Bowen, trying to find his way through the middle. There's the easy conversion from Marty Roebuck, pushing Australia up those additional 3 points, 25 to 13.
Well, they're just 12 minutes to go in the game. Tiny little bit of injury time. And a very solid performance by Australia. Can South Africa, by some miracle, come back into the game? Good restart by Stransky. Schmidt is up quickly. He went charging into Tambua. Look at the way Farr-Jones clears. This is Jacques Olivier. The Australian crowd love it, and Jacques Olivier will be absolutely furious with himself.
It's most unusual from a very talented footballer. Such are the pressures on South Africa at the moment as we enter those last 10 minutes.
Gavin is going to take it at the back. No, Farr-Jones going back. Du Preez offside. Gavin had the ball, and a little bit of impetuous play by the South Africans. And now arguing, so it's getting worse and worse. So another chance for Marty Roebuck.
Well, that, of course, is very unacceptable, I think, and it's like James Small that's being called up, and it looks like he's being sent off.
He has. James Small has been sent off for dissent. Well, one doesn't know what James Small said to the referee, but he just wouldn't let up, and he just kept arguing with the referee, and eventually He gets his marching orders for his trouble. Roebuck with the extra 3 points. And this is not good for South Africa.
Well, indiscipline from South Africa. 3 occasions there. The push forward and an additional 10 meters. Initially, perhaps the concern coming from, and the objection from Robert de Preer. And then finally, of course, James Small, obviously having said something to referee Ed Morrison, who we know by reputation to be a very, very strict referee. A reorganization will be required, and Jacques Olivier will go onto the right wing.
Restart by Stransky. Morgan waits. He gets the tap back. Good play by Willie Schmidt as he goes charging in. He'd read that well. This is de Preer. Now Hannes Strydom, but he's all alone. De Preer pops it up to Stransky. Now Strauss making a charge for the line. De Preer gets again, trying to find Francois Pienaar on the outside. Nice hands by Francois Pienaar. Rhys Edwards Andrews came in. Australia offside. And I would be a little surprised if Francois Pienaar moves out onto the wing now. Jacques Olivier has definitely moved over to the right. De Preer trying to open it up, taken on by Andrews. Barley Swart rather. Still the drive goes on. Robert de Preer gets it. Now Peter Muller deciding to take the law into his own hands. Great run by Peter Muller. The referee perfectly positioned. Well, Peter Muller just showed power and enterprise there as he made a dart for the line. Big question is now, yes, it's Australia ball as far Jones comes through. There's one of the Australians in trouble.
Well, Peter Miller's had very few opportunities in this match. They're the lovely run through, very, very strong and powerful on his feet.
Well, you see Francois Pienaar is moving out to the left wing. It's Far Jones who's in trouble. He's had an absolutely outstanding game, as have the Australian centres, but the tight 5 are very good. Far Jones feeding. Campese in his own in-goal area, running it out, and that's a good clearance by the Australian winger. Gained an awful lot of ground. The touch judge has got his flag up just inside the South African half. It was a long rolling kick. Now there's got to be a lot of work going on now for Jacques Olivier as he moves over from the left and right wings. Again, it was South Africa throw. Bowen will be content to bang it back. And that ball hasn't gone out. Rhys Edwards. Now this is another charge by Far Jones. Robert de Preer does well. Now gives it to Francois Pienaar. That's a pretty good clearance by the Springbok captain. So Australia will be content just to win the possession that they have been getting in the game and just banging South Africa back into their own half. About 7 minutes still to go. 28 points to 13, Australia lead. Australia will now be content just to slow the game down a little bit. Tambua has had a really great game. Australia waiting for advantage. De Preer gets Strauss, then it is Schmidt. A little bit at 6s and 7s at the moment, the South Africans. Lost their composure. And now they have to scrum with 7 men. Strauss at the back is in all sorts of trouble from Tambua, having a much stronger game than the one he had for Queensland. De Preer, Stransky on the charge. He's held up by Bowen. Pienaar goes in to lend some assistance. Stransky is still in there. Pienaar's got his hands on it now. Lotte rips loose. Nico Wagner helps. De Preer, the Australian line is very flat. Heinrich Fools gets his hands through the tackle. Taken by Jason Little. Oh, look how strong he is on his feet. Eventually brought to ground. Jason Little, also a state cricket player, schools cricket player. So he's got marvellous sense of ball ability. Queenslanders have. I was just singing Lily Tambua's praises a moment ago, and it's the Queenslanders who have decided that Tambua is the man of the match. There you see him making the tackle on Tiaan Strauss. Jason Little, who's received attention a number of times for injury, held up by his two centre rivals. He's the man that's receiving attention. Well, Gavin, if you were Francois Pienaar, what now?
Well, there's not a lot you can do, and even more particularly, he's pulled out of the pack of forwards and needs to be standing out there on the wing. A most unfortunate situation for South Africa, but I think the game was won and lost before James Small left the field. And full marks to Australia thus far, and we say that because there's still a few minutes left over, and of course there could be some sort of comeback from South Africa, but I think with 7 forwards, it's virtually impossible to really get yourself properly back into the match. See Warwick War warming up there. One wonders if Lily Tambua maybe has injured that hamstring of his again.
Well, I'm sure that Lily Tambua in his debut will not want to go off, but still attention to Jason Little. Have a very able replacement in Anthony Herbert. He's played in 9 test matches. It's going to be South Africa's advantage at the scrum. Jason Little, the scorer of 2 terrific tries. He's a big man, Jason Little. He's 1.86 meters tall and 90 kilograms. Du Preez, Strauss, Du Preez, the little bit of a mix-up there as Tim Gavin comes charging away with the ball. Tambua takes it on, now taken on by Wilson. He goes underneath Fools. Good tackle there by Nico Vachner. Still the Australians charge on. South Africa in real trouble here. Far Jones, Bowen, Horan. Look at Horan just wending his way through. The tackle came from Andrews. Mackenzie went in to secure the ball. A lovely pass from Bowen. Marty Roebuck up in the line. Bowen goes in to secure again. Good play by a fly half. South African line of defence is reformed, but holding on to the ball in the ruck. Well, this has been a very convincing win by Australia. It will be. I cannot see South Africa getting back into it if they now go 31 points to 13 down. And at 28-13, things looking pretty hopeless with 5 minutes to go. Roebuck will be in no great hurry to take this penalty, just allowing his forwards who have worked so hard to just recover. And Jason Little is getting a standing ovation from his home crowd as he comes off the field. A brilliant game by him, and just deciding to call it a day, and he will be replaced by Anthony Herbert. Marty Roebuck, little lack of concentration there. He would have wanted to really wrap it up for Australia and rub the salt into the wounds, but not striking that penalty attempt well at all. The restart by Stransky. Stradom is there. Morgan gets the first touch. Far Jones goes ahead, plays it up to Morgan. The crowd, many Australians are there. Far Jones gets the ball at will. A charge coming from Anthony Herbert, the new man, and he's a big guy too. Now Far Jones again, the Springbok defence stretched once more. Beautiful hands there by Roebuck to Bowen. Jacques Olafia has it covered, and Jacques Olafia going crashing into one of our sound systems. Well, it's been a rough, tough affair, and Australia really climbing in physically as well as mentally. South Africans so badly wanted to show that the first test wasn't just a fluke. They played very well against Queensland. Now Strauss taking it on. Du Preez, Stransky, Pienaar, beautifully tackled by Horan. What a defender is Timmy Horan, now taken on by the big men. That was Nico Vachner who picked it up. Du Preez, Stransky, the skip to Hugh Rees-Edwards. Can he get it away to Olafia? Olafia getting away from Herbert, no man to leave. Good tackle by Anthony Herbert, also great cheer from the crowd. He's a local man. They'll have to take a quick one. Francois Pienaar does so. Support from Hannes Strydom, then Keith Andrews. Dupree. Long one out there to Tian Strauss as he slips it back inside to Heinrich Fools. Fools finding body swatch in support, and then the play getting more green jerseys required around the ball. This is good. Pienaar in the center position. Now the long ball out to Milana. Here's Jacques Olivier as he goes on the outside and then the inside trying to get it back. Peter Muller with a crunching tackle. That was on Anthony Herbert. Lovely little dart there by Jacques Olivier. Springboks not giving up hope, playing with only the 14 men.
Well, interesting that South Africa decided to play the ball wide, and so many people have said when this happens, South Africa tends to look dangerous. Jacques Olivier, always the elusive runner there, just not able to find his man. Some good, outstanding effort by him.
Must be South Africa's put in. Yes, it is. Robert Dupree will be putting the ball in. That's David Wilson, the very hard-working flank forward. Was voted man of the series last year after the Bledisloe Cup series against the New Zealanders. Plays on the open side all the time. Disappointed a little bit against Queensland, but obviously South Africans caught a little bit by surprise by that Queensland form. Now, can they salvage some pride in the last couple of minutes of this game? Stransky takes it short. Dupree, the long ball to Rhys Edwards. He gets it away to Olivier. Look how elusive he is. You just can't help thinking that if that man had got more of the ball, it could have been more trouble for Australia, but they just haven't won the possession from first phase. Jacques Olivier will be delighted by that, his first test try in his 6th test.
Good running there by Rhys Edwards and coming into the line. There, we spoke about the elusiveness of Olivier. Well, he's a difficult man to bring down. Very, very quick and very strong around the waist area. Just watch the little handoff there, and then on the inside, through he comes. Well, South Africa have spent a lot of time utilising the crash ball in the middle of the field. Has been part of the game plan thus far up to it, and it's worked quite well. But today, it is rather unfortunate that possibly there couldn't have been a switch to playing the ball a little bit wider, because when you're getting the ball on the back foot, it's never difficult to drive forward and keep the momentum going, which means harder work for your tight forwards and as well as your loose forwards. And if the ball could have been spread a little bit more, because I don't think James Small will go through another test with having touched the ball on so few occasions.
Very few occasions. Well, maybe it was frustration, but it was definitely indiscipline, and that will put James Small's position for the last test in jeopardy. He may well get a suspension for that. Stransky with the conversion. Head down, the flags go up, 2 extra points to South Africa. There was a bit of injury time when Jason Little received quite a lot of attention, but can you pull back 8 points in 2 minutes? And 2 minutes it has to be maximum. That's Matthew Burke, the other reserve three-quarter, who's warming up because of that attention which has been paid to Marty Roebuck. Deep by Bowen. Now Dion Lotter taking it ahead. The rest of the forwards getting in behind him very quickly. Stransky out to Elise Schmidt. He's well held up in midfield. That's Herbert who made the tackle. The siren has gone. The referee says play on. Stransky gets it away to Rhys Edwards. Now another chance for Rhys Edwards. Just couldn't find Strauss on the inside. Andrews came up quickly and nicely in support. Good cover defence by the Australians. That's going to be a penalty. McCall came in on the wrong side. The referee will have to let it run. Robert Dupree will take a quick one. McCall came in right from the side. Dupree takes quickly. Are the Australians 10 metres? I don't think they are. Dupree getting it back to Schmidt. Schmidt can try and go through Horan, but Horan's very good tackler. We have a problem. Hannes Strydom is down. Springboks still driving ahead. Dupree gets it back to Pienaar, then to Stransky. Stransky can't get past Herbert. Can he loosen up the ball? Pienaar's there first to the point of breakdown. Good leading by the captain. Strauss also goes in. There's another Australian down. This is like a real battlefield. Now Dupree popping it up to Rhys Edwards. Dion Lotter, Jacques Olivier. The crowd baying for a forward pass, and they get it. The referee says, hold on, I've got injury time still to play. The crowd want to storm onto the field. And now the touch judge on the far side consulting with Mr. Ed Morrison. Number 1, Barley Swart. Is it on the Australian side? The South Africans hold their breath. Barley Swart it is who's going to be called up, and the referee could just give him a warning and then say this game is all over. Still in injury time. Campese with the kick ahead, the penalty taken. And it's a huge one. Australia back on the attack, the referee's whistle going. And really no one can complain with that. Bob Dwyer is delighted. He's shaking and receiving the congratulations of all the spectators around him. Nick Farr-Jones, a fabulous game today. But South Africa really not, despite the 20 points, not in the picture, Gavin.